truck and get warm there, because I bet you that engine is quite nicely, probably a balmy 90 degrees, something like that, I'm sure right now still. For those of you that are not enjoying me with my live stream, fear not, I am also GoPro'd, head to toed. You know, I wouldn't leave y'all alone in my road. I'm so clever. I love how clever I am sometimes. So, to update anyone who just is coming to, which I know is not a lot of you, I can see. I can see that it could be a moment to gain for all this amazing, incredible journey that I am bringing you with here. It is beautiful out though for being outdoors. I just really hope I don't drop ye down into the drink, because that's a long way down. And I like my phone. It's new. It's a new phone. And as such, you know how those things go. We tend to get attached to our new phones in a way that, well, it just kind of makes you like all warm and fuzzy inside when you drop them. It's not ideal. And when my leg fell asleep, and what's it, buddy? Okay, I'm gonna try to stand up now and not take a swim, because a swim is not for the faint of heart. It might be not so freezing outside right now, but I'm telling you, that creek water is gotta be a bit nipply, you know, as they say. I think they say that still. But yeah, so to update y'all, about let's say maybe one throw into my magnet attempts, I did stick my magnet to the iron structure under this massive old railway bridge. Not ideal, but this cup is, well, it's not even half empty. It's pretty damn full at the moment. Full like my plan B over there. Well, a little less than full, right? We have cheersed. For those of you, the whole one of you, I do appreciate you. Maybe if I decide to take a swim impromptuly, let somebody know. Oh, hey, I hope that's not a rail bridge. It's like coyotes have a red light. No, there's probably a road up that way. Probably roads that way. There's business there, but it's humming along under its own accord. Let's up. What's this? Yeah, I dare ya. I dare ya. Come on. I've got ya. Like I said, I'll fucking eat ya. I do know how to skin an animal and eat it. I've done it before, mind you, but only with a deer. I don't know what tastes like many of you others critters of the woodlands. I have tasted only but of very few. Many of them mostly from the drink down there, the water. Which again, I don't know how far it is, but hey, to update my friend here, my magnet, first throw out, is frighteningly far down before it hit the water. A long haul, just silence, and then kerplunk. Could be 70 feet, but there's no way. I mean, there's trees, but that bang, I don't know. It's far enough that it startled me a bit, because you can't really see as well as it thinks it does, the brain that is. But yeah, pulling a purchase, and I thought, hey, you know what? I don't really need my magnet so bad right now to where I will get it and just go flailing off into the swim. But what I do have and I am still prepared for, is not to end the fight without fighting. We've got, yes, the grapple, which is about to be deployed directly, just like I said, kind of stuck me truck up to its nuts. I think that's what I titled this silly cast of whatever. It's my truck was stuck up to its nuts on the first pull off. Luckily, the pull off I chose is bridge adjacent. I only had to fight tooth and nail to get up. This is an abandoned railway trestle, in case you couldn't tell, and I have abandoned all my extra GoPro batteries and just about every damn thing else in my truck, which I don't know, you can't see probably at all. I can't even see it no more. I was getting reflections from the taillights and stuff, but it hasn't gone anywhere, I'm sure. I fought it back and forth, and it's stuck. But that's fine. We were prepared to haul in for a while anyway. Make camp, as it were. And that we have done. Congratulations. Congratulations. Okay. So, and it wouldn't be fitting just to lose one of my only two implements for pulling anything from the water without having a good couple of cheersies. You know, a couple of how's your waters, how's your mothers and fathers, and, well, speaking of, I did manage to get cork in. See that? We pushed it in, baby. We are gonna make it. We will not be a popsicle tonight. So, cheers. If you have one nearby you, please have a cheers with me. It's probably 34 degrees out. No, it feels great though, actually. It's not that cold. It is pretty damn decent. I'm suited for, you know, I got a vest on and long sleeve and a shirt and a couple pairs of pants. No belt. Again, just, why would, you know, don't need to just get everything, and it's going to be just fine. We're not swimming, so, hey, I've still got my phone in my hand. It's the only way that I've secured my phone over this here. So if you guys go for a swim, I'm probably coming after you, because I just got this phone. And anyway, cheers. Oh, what are we having? That's an excellent question. Following question. Like, share, and subscribe. This is in fitting tribute to our Hobo Bridge session. We have not really Hobo wine, but it is wine nonetheless. Dry, of course. You know, what are we? Well, I don't know what we are. Could be any sorts of new, exciting sorts of types, I guess, if we're being fully inclusive. And we are for now. Let's play. What's that sound? No, there's mostly catfish. I'm hearing them. They're up on the banks. They're just, every now and then they kind of muscle their way up there and just get a little bit up a tree and just give me a little salute. They're cheersing too in their own way. Hey, I can see the truck. I can't see it when I shine the light, but I see it when I'm not lighted. So, and mostly the light is because, yeah, I'm a pussy, man. I'm scared as fuck. No, I just keep looking for eye shine, because there was a pretty pissed off, like I said, Maury Povich episode between some coyotes just somewhere in that area, not quite to the truck, but they fought it out, and I guess probably the biggest one got the biggest chunk of meat. Something big old deer done up in there or something. But maybe this stuff taking. I'll just grab you nice and firm though. I don't want to lose you guys. I really don't. There's my smokes. See him? Hello, Palmo. I wish I knew if I could black out the screen and wouldn't get rid of you. But I'm not going to try it now, because I'm going to bring you the live, nothing happening on the spot news up to the moment There's me truck. It's fucked. No, it's just stuck. It needs a little bit of sunlight. I could have kept toying with it, but I just thought, hell, this is where I'd want to park anyway. Boom, bada boom. Up the trestle. Trees helped support me. Trees were very helpful and supportive in this matter. They were very encouraging of my process of getting up. And you left me. Well, come on back, would ya? Okay. Just gotta share somebody. Hey, let's get some buddies in here, yeah? Who we got? Who was we? And there's no messages. What else can we do here? Narrating the journey. And I just want to thank you again for joining me. Cheers. We keep looking down to see if you guys is. I gotta stop that though. Sorry. Do forgive. Okay. I don't want chat no more. Right. No more chat, please. No. Just don't want chat no more. There we go. Chat hidden. Okay. And oh, that's what that was. Bring the chat back. Chat's back. Okay. Lovelies. Me lovely friends, me peoples. I love ya. I didn't. Oh no, I just lost my paper bag. I see that. What you got, Bubba? What happened? Oh, my flashlight. My flashlight cranked out. Wouldn't you know? Wouldn't you know it? Just like a flashlight to bitch out on me. Don't want to drop my phone. Look, I got to screw this in. The flashlight likes to pick-a-doo. Come on, buddy. Come back. Well, I guess I don't have a flashlight right now. It's alright. I'd rather not. It keeps working against me. You know, a flashlight is your friend. But sometimes a flashlight is not as much your friend, right? Have you ever heard that said before? Don't. Always been dear to me. Always been near to me. Okay. Da 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 da. I wish I could get rid of those buttons without pushing them. There's gotta be a way, huh? Wouldn't you say? How do I do it? I want to get rid of buttons so I don't push them and put it in my pocket. But instead I can't. I got one hand and only one hand. And I saw somebody let me down. Let me down, friend. Let me down, friend. But just another railroad bridge passenger traveler, stander, whatever. They're probably not magnet fishing themselves, not at this hour, but we don't know that. We don't know that, right? And don't you judge them, because they're the only people I've got out here right now. And golly, unless you're going to come out here, sit with me, have a cheers, help me get my magnet off or my truck loose, then, you know, then was just happy to be in company with each other, yeah? Yes, thank you. I do love yous. Love yous well. Love you swell. What's that smell? Well, it's not sewage. It's pretty natural for good. I like it. Right. Boise, Idaho. Well, fuck, I should have brought my tripod. I did. I mean, I should have brought it up here, as I will whenever I inevitably do take that trip back to the truck, which is not going to... Oh, did I pour a little liquor on you? Sorry, folks. Sorry, friends. That was an unintentional spillage. A little bit. Drip, drop. Not too much. But I was leaning over to scratch me leg a little bit with the bridge. It just seems only appropriate now, don't it? Sure. Sure it does, and it is. Appropriate it is. So, we need not question matters of such when it comes to pouring out a little bit for every who will indeed appreciate. And then just a little, because some people are teetotal. They do not like. So we do not want to force our opinions and our views and our beliefs and our indulgences on those who may not share similarly as ours is done. Okay? Okay. Glad we cleared that up. Am I pissing? Am I just rambling too much for y'all? I'm sorry, I'm seeing my viewers count dropping. I'm dropping like a slot machine, aren't I? I do not mean to ramble, but I do indeed ramble. But thank you for joining me. It's nice to have you all with me. And I'd like to think a little bit that you guys think it's nice to be with me out here on this lovely night when it's just such a great temperate air temperature. Is nominally chilly. It is not at all cold. There's the truck today. See you guys? Told you it's right there. The license plate catches a little bit of a glimmer. A little glimmer. Just a wimber. But, you know, might as well be somewhere else because I'm not fucking trudging down that hill again for a good moment anyway. It's a workout, and I've got my grapple anyway. I will do what we've come to do. Just want to soak in the moment. This is my first time at this bridge, actually. A description. And do keep it, you know, a little bit to yourselves. It's not blow up the spot, because it is an awesome spot. I wasn't live streaming when I was parking, well, when I was sticking the truck in the mud, but there is the most magnificent, huge, humongous sycamore tree that I was going to pull around, because it is like a pull around. My buddy D to the did, he knows what it is. He's been here, because that's my bro. Shout out to you, man. I love the spot, even though I have not been able to see it yet. I think it's magical how freaking high this bridge must be, because it looks like I see water, and it looks like it's not really that far down, but it was way, way down. It took a long time for my magnet to hit the water. Incredibly long time. I don't know. It was just like plunging through the air silently, and then skerplunk. And I think it was a little deeper than I expected it to be too. It's not really deep. It is just semi-deep. I don't know. It's probably maybe no more than 20 feet deep, and that would be at the extreme edge. It's probably 10 to 15 feet. Water's high right now, so 15-ish in the center or the channel, wherever, probably the center. But the thing I'm really curious is the height from the bridge where I stand to the water, which is, that's where it got me. That was a lot higher than I thought. Boy, I'll tell you, it is quite a drop. Probably good that it is dark and I can't see exactly accurately how far down it is, because I might lose my stomach a little bit. Who we got here? Hey, get out of here. Did you see him go? Nope, he's not gone. He just kind of blinked or something. It's probably just a jolly old possum. No, come on, mate. You can come on down. Come on, Abby. I'm not you're the enemy out here. This is the woodland. And if you know how to walk bridge trestles, by golly, you belong out here, okay? That's to all creatures, see you? Even the catfish out there. If you want to jump up, climb the tree, the bank, come on to the trestle with me. Let's have a trestle. Trestle chat. That's what we should rename this. Maybe that's why my numbers are dropping, yeah? If I go to a rename, we'll go trestle chat. Chat. Yeah, oh, what we got over there? Let's say possum. It could be yodies. Could be a couple yodies. We go say hello-de. But we've got some friends. We got some friends. Yes, of course we got friends. Frenzies. Looks like a number. A number. Yeah. Okay. Shall we go introduce ourselves? Yes. But let's do it as friends, yes? I think that would be beneficial to us more than if I tried to have to eat you. I am not opposed to the idea. I will eat you if you want me to, okay? But if you do not, maybe I will feed you. I got pretzels in the truck. It will be a while before I go back to truck, so do not get your stomach set on pretzels so soon. Okie dokie. Alamagoki. Now, fit and proper right, solid proper. Let's get our introductions here. Online we've got, oh well, you've just left, okay. Well, come on back whenever you like. If you're just joining, you can backtrack and see all the excitement that has happened so far, which has been, I'm telling you, it's been quite an amazing night so far. We've came out, we threw our magnet in, it splashed in, we pulled our magnet up, it was immediately stuck, and that's where it sticks now, where it may stay forever. It may be, hey, there we go. It might be for my channel, anybody wants to come out and retrieve a 900-pound two-sider, it's, what do you think? Come up, they probably smelled the wine. They probably want to taste, want to sip, want to join me in a cheers. I invited all to come, so, why wouldn't I? I certainly welcome. But just do be cautious. I am not so sure-footed enough to where I can just meet an old buddy with a jump in the arms, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna have to probably, mitigate, and then ask questions later. And we don't want to get into that if we don't have to. And we don't. Like I said, I'm here as a friendly. Want to take and remove large chunks of old trash and garbage from this beautiful natural water vein carved by the giant melting of the huge ice that once covered this landscape. It was so much, it's melting. Streams of hundreds of feet deep of ice cold torrents just so rapidly flowing. It carved out the very bedrock into these large channels that you wouldn't notice if you didn't know. But you can stand on one side of any of these ancient waterways and look across from one side of the channel to the other, and it's going to be probably a mile or so or more from the waterway itself. The Wabash in particular, it's about a 2 to 4 mile each side of the Wabash, where you're standing up to the very top of the carved out canyon of it. The ravine, it's very deep and very huge, and you can just picture it when you're on one side looking across at the other, how massive and just into the world, like you would approach a river that size, which you can't. There is no river anywhere on earth near the size of these rivers that carved out this landscape. But you would stand on one bank and you would see nothing but raging torrent for as far as I could see, and there was no thought of anything beyond where you stood. That's the end of the world. There's nothing over there on the other side. And you know, from the other side, they were looking over this way too, thinking very much similar thoughts, you know. And they would not know each other for thousands of years. Yet, you know, that massive melting torrent, it took a good long time melting down that 2 mile ice sheet. You know, got a little help. What kicked off the start of the melt, I believe. Just a little bit north of here, I'm sure. And got some help from the heavens. You know, a great help as you asked, the megafauna that still exists today from these areas, and of which there is none, but yet just one only saved the beautiful local deer populations. I guess there's a few styles: whitetail, mule deer, um, red deer, not so much, but there's some. Mule deer's not a whole lot, mostly whitetail populations in these parts, but it's a thriving. It is very thriving, and I guess that you would call a deer megafauna, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you? Wouldn't you? If you could, wouldn't you? Just wouldn't you? I think you would. I do. I do it all the time. You know what? I think you guys want to look around my face. I think I figured out how to not push buttons. Let's put the pickle Rick side in me breasta. Besta. Don't slip out, though. Don't trick me. Okay. There we go. I've got you guys snugging me breast. How's that? Loving it? Oh, I love you guys there. Pleasure to have you there. Of course. Okay, well, about to decided to take a swim, but now I'll wait on the swim. I'll tell you what, though. If you're wondering why you can't see a whole lot, it is you're staring through my outer sweater layer, but onto my voice and let it lull you into a sense of the history and the ancient, amazing, miraculous changes of this landscape through its help from the heavens and the perseverance of nature's strong and immutable presence in this world. And what a blessing it is to have. Because for or without it, we would never have seen the light of night or the day in any ways. So peace and love, love some peace. I don't have that kind of a peace right now, but hey, I could maybe fashion a call something if I need must, right? So don't you say that about me. Hey, so stupid. Why you so stupid, I say? I don't know, Papi. I don't know, Papi. Papi Latowski, Doftoski. Man, this fucking thing sucks ass too. Flashlight red. It's like they're tricking the nature out of seeing, because they can't see the red, you know. Deers can't see it. Neither can probably most any of the woodland creatures that call this place home, or most places home, right? Don't do the twist backwards look, Mr. Shorefoot. Mr. Shorefoot, I am not. Remember, we talked about that. I am not so sure-footed as to do all this tricky meandering about and twisting half turns and just grabbing the seat of my pants and holding me bottle of me red. Yeah. Oh, some of these twist ties. Some of these railroad ties is not the most uptight in the world. I'm finding. I think I'm probably testing some of them, testing their stick at itness with my fat assness, fastly passing my fat ass across the mess. It's not probably the best on everyone, But hey, it's what we got. And what we got may not be a lot, but it's enough. So fight your golf. Yeah. Yep, 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 yep.
Caca, caca. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay.
Root, root. Hey, what I got you. Which one of those did you like? Because I will use not that. I'm not really calling you to come over, okay? Just enjoy at a distance. Enjoy at a distance, okay? You keep your space. You give me mine. Mine is more than yours if it comes to the span of this bridge, okay? There's all of that. And all of that. And all that. Don't go in me truck, but you can get on top of it and get underneath it. It's probably still warm, but you're probably not going to any over there because you're going to have to probably come through here to get to that. And nope, not right now. This bridge is commandeered for the now, and I'm sorry, but it was made by us. You know, I kind of wouldn't be here for you were it not, right? So, beep. Just kidding. Hey, is it raccoon? Got some raccoons over there. Tell you what, if you behave, I got some granola. I'll toss you a granola before I leave, if you behave, okay? Not before, because then you get all grabby and you want more and more and more. And we ain't friends like that, okay? Right, you guys understand the that part of it. Sorry, am I waking up yet? I heard you. Somebody's yelling at me from over distance yonder. Somebody's like, hey man, I was asleep, you asshole. Sorry. You may go back asleep. I will probably only wake you up like 2-3 more times tops before I vacate. Well, I start the process of vacating, but it's not going to be as immediate as all that, right? How you guys doing? Still with me? Hey, you're still with me. Now you guys is really tight. You guys is my friends. My good friends. Thanks for staying with me. Thanks for joining in the live streaming magical world of kind of semi in the wild. More wild man madness than wild nature, but we are in the midst of some, and it's quite beautiful, I'm sure. I can't wait to show you guys this massive sycamore. It is, at the base of it, one of the larger I've seen, you know, living. I've seen that big old stump that's cut off in the Highland Park in Kokomo, that massive bad boy. I actually know the exact spot location where that was removed from. It's actually a friend of mine owns property right across the Wildcat from the exact spot where that massive tree stump was removed. And in his property, it was like 3 main trailheads that would come right through his very property and there was a little village of wigwams. Was the very first kind of denoted, demarcated, mapped feature of that kind of whole section of the Wildcat, a very prominent part within Howard County, my home of homes, my heart, my hand, my hollow. I hail from and holler in and around Howard County, as most of you or none of you should know, would know, could know. I don't know. It's not that big a deal. Okay? Okay. It's like just a slight criminal record, nothing huge. It's been a while too, so judge not, lest you have a record too, hey? It's not really that hard to do. Okay. Look at that water down there, boys. We got some, looks like raw sewage floating across. That's probably not poopy. I hope not, because, well, that would be improper disposals. Oh shit, balls, shit, fuck, fires, flip, big. This is a lot easier just standing in one place. And when I start to move my choppers, my sticks, start just poking them and promenading around this truss, this span, like it's like a solid landlock. Lover's Lane here. Like just lollygag and fall around and roll on down. There ain't none of that. So that's a sound you'll hear if you're so bust what I must. Hey. What did that sound? Some old school. That's how cool I gets with the old school hits. I drop that shit's like, kind of like those obvious like shits that are floating down the river. Now, those definitely look like poopy sewage, but it can't be. I don't smell any poopy. I do feel the stability of this bridge is solid, but not so much every timber. I find weak timbers. I find stronger timbers. Some of them I stood on for a while, they stay put. Other ones, they kind of have that skyscraper thump to them every now and then. And, I'm not gonna lie, you could call it a little disheartening, being that I am not at the top floor of a massive skyscraper, which you would expect to sway a little bit and an occasional thunk and thud. I love that actually about skyscrapers, but I don't really like it about old abandoned railway bridges. But I mean, the iron on this thing that I'm stuck to with my magnet is about 10 feet. These I-beams, or whatever they would be called, they're about 10 foot from these railroad ties to where they're structurally mounted on their embankments. Embankments? Yeah, whatever. Boy, I see lots of raccoon right along here. I don't know if you guys are, well, you're not picking them up now, but there's quite a bit of, at least I've seen about, I would say at least 4 distinct sets of eye shine up in there. Back in the old wild heydays of my crazy youth, I would think nothing about coming out with my 22, popping into a patch of woods, 20 minutes in and out, walk out with freaking 6, 8, one time 14 between them and my friend, just in a 20-minute patch of woods. We was in there 20 minutes. We walked out seven coons each, just strung over our shoulders with ties, But in my defense, I wouldn't have just done for the sport of it. I don't believe in that kind of hunting. I hunt only, or fish only, what I intend to eat, with the exception of if it brings funds to me, if it sustains me with adding funds to my coffer, my pocket, and I will count that as feeding me. And that's what those raccoons did. The craziest thing, back to me, it was always crazy how, when we would do this, we would definitely be in the AM hours, it'd be like 3 a.m. We'd hop in a truck and hit the country roads, look for a patch of stubble corn. If we found a stubble corn, we would just pull right off the road. We'd be dipping back through the field, just chugging through the field until we hit any patch of woods. As soon as we get up to a patch of woods, we slam it in park, shut it off, pop right out. We already got our 22s with a scope and a flashlight. And we just, boom, you enter the woods. You just start poking through. You don't need dogs. You just make the sound of a dog. Oh, 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 like that. Oh, 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 oh. I'll tell you what, nothing a raccoon doesn't like worse than that sound right there, buddy. Let me tell you. You'll have, I probably got every raccoon within a quarter mile of me is on its way up a tree right now, if it wasn't already. Oh, 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 oh. And they hear that, they're treed up. And so then once they're treed up, they're facing you. You know, you just make a lot of noise because you're walking fast through the woods anyway. And you gots to have the right rig though. I mean, having a 22, great. Having a flashlight, even better. But without a scope, it's useless because you're not going to hold a flashlight right up to your cheek and hit your you know, your line of sights. You need a scope. That way, wherever your light's shining, you just point your scope that way. Boom, and you're seeing right where you're aimed. You just look for that eye shine like that right there. Like that right there. Right there's a good one. That's a big old boy right there, guarantee you. And you just, back, one shot if you're not fucking around. But if it still doesn't just drop right out of the tree right then, I drop a quick second right. You got another one on the other end of that tie. Throw that right over your shoulder. Keep on going. 20 minutes in and out. Whole wood's cleared. Look at that eye shine right there. And so the thing is, so here's what was crazy about it though, is we get back into town, Kokomo as it were, for all of you who are familiar, and you'd go right into what we used to refer to as the ghetto, you know, whatever part of town, right in the center of town at Gateway Gardens, which is literally was like the ghetto of Kokomo. I think it still kind of is. It's like an apartment complex for low-income housing, you know, lots of that. But it's so bad that there's actually a mini precinct, like jail station or police station inside this apartment complex right now to this day, as far as I understand. But anyway, it wasn't within there, but it was right across the street from there, where the houses are. One of the houses, it don't matter what time of morning it is, you just show up at 3:30, 4:30, 2:30 a.m. and you just bang real loud on this guy's garage door, and 30 seconds later, here comes his garage door. Raise up, man. This dude's opening shop for you because he wanted you to come and bring him raccoons, dead ones. You didn't have to do anything. You don't gut it. Matter of fact, you didn't want to gut them because he paid you based on the weight of each one individually. He'd weigh them out. He had those, you know, like, in sixth grade when you did your science project, you know, and you had that poster board thing and you put all your information on. He had like 3 or 4 of those just set up in the garage, you know, the lights were already on, the garage door comes up, and those were like a menu, but it was just prices by weight. You know, it'd say like 8 pounds to 14 pounds, $8, right? But it goes up good, it did in those days. So it would be like, what was it, like 15 pounds to 20 pounds or something like that. And that was getting up to $20, you know, and it would go like from 20 pounds to 35 pounds. Now that's a $40 raccoon right there, you know. So if you're pulling out, you know, and you were, you know, 20-pound average coons, you just pull them out of your truck and just plop them right on this guy's garage floor, and he would just start dropping them onto the scale one at a time, boom, 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 adding it up. And he had his, like I said, his prices were set, and they were good. He paid out real good. He got cash the moment, I mean, and he really wanted you to come. I mean, so if you went and you drop a freaking truckload of raccoons on this guy's garage floor, he's throwing you some more gloves, he's throwing you some more ties, he's giving you more shells, you know, a pack of shells for free. He's like, please come back. Yes, please, please, please. Now, you're not going to find that eager of a buyer these days as it were in those days, and we'll leave that to the imagination as to the year, because, hey, man, I'm an old man, so fuck you. No, I'm kidding. But the reason that we're is certainly not going to be the case nowadays. But apparently, for about a decade there, in my early adulthood, let's just say, in Russia, it was all the rage. I mean, it must have been like the biggest fashion trend the world's ever seen, really. I mean, there's a lot of people there, so that could be. But they loved them some Daniel Boone cabbages out that way. I mean, they just couldn't get enough raccoon hides. So that's what this guy would do. I mean, he directly, like once you'd leave, he'd do all the grit work. He'd skin them and all this, but all he was getting out of them is he just wanted the furs, the tail, and the hide, right, all attached. And he would mail by the boxload, by the Gaylord boxload full, straight directly to Russia somewhere. He had a buyer in Russia, every one that he could box up and sell, and he must have been making a killing, because I'm telling you, he was Mr. Available, Mr. Friendly, really good, really great guy too. I wonder if he still lives there. I'd like to drop in on him sometime and just say hey, because those were good times, good memories of all that, and it wasn't illegal, but it was because, as I told you, our kind of smash and grab and jump out and in, we never really bothered to check, hey, did we ask permission for this particular set of properties here? Or just does the stubble corn mean we have permission? And I think that's how we took it. But we were so quick in and out, like I told you folks. It was, I think the longest time we ever spent in any patch was maybe 40 minutes. And, maybe a little two sets of some truck ruts going through, but not even like deep or anything. It would have to be right. It had to be dry, crisp kind of night. And, it was freaking money. I mean, it was money on the spot. And, being a young guy, 16, 17, and 18, it's a weekend night. It's fun anyway. You just kind of go out. It's exciting. You're just looking. Is there no cars coming? Quick, turn off the headlights, dip into the field, and just punch. Then you're out there. Boom, 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 boom. You go out for a good few hours. And you've got 10 to 20 at least. I mean, we had 40, almost 40 raccoons on our best night one night. And I mean, it's just like 2 hours later, 3 hours later, you're a little tired, a little wore out, but you're heading back to Kokomo, heading right up to the old dude's garage, bang, 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 boom, boom, boom. Now you got like $75 in your pocket each, and just looking to find that old Mary Jane back in the day you couldn't find so well. Well, I always could. I had no problem in that way for my durations, but that's neither here nor there. That's we all have pasts, and mine was better than yours. No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. I just like to say, don't judge, and then I judge. But no, it was great. It was I didn't feel terrible about doing it because, again, it's pretty humane, especially when you're capping right into ice shine with, a 22 goes into the skull of these raccoons, and they're dead before they hit the ground, most times. If they weren't, you put a foot on it, and, just put your muzzle up to the thing and dispatch it quickly and as painlessly. I never heard one of them making any sort of sounds or hissing other than sometimes they'd be twitching, kicking the leaves. Like I said, that's sometimes how you had to find it. Worst case I did feel bad about sometimes is, and it very rarely happened, but one of them would just happen to be treed up in just such a branch and a crook and a nook that old boy was just comfortable up there, and you ended him and he couldn't fall out of the tree, and then that just really sucked. I hated that. I really did. Oh, 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 oh. Yeah, and they'd get up in there and get all comfortable and go to sleep on it. Never get to take them down. That was a real waste, I really, really hated that every time. It was a waste. I mean, I would do anything I could to throw sticks up there, grab a long branch. Me and my buddy, we'd sometimes get like a little sapling tree and break it off at ground level and try to get up there and poke around in the branches and bring it on home, so it could get out there in Russia and make some kid feel like Davy Crockett or some shit in Russia. Well, nowadays they don't like Daniel Boone in Russia. Okay, nowadays they don't like raccoon tails on their head, which is really the raccoon ass on their heads as a fashion, since it is no longer as popular as it was whenever they were buying cars that they did not make, that they still drive and they still keep running. I know, it's so funny, right? This joke in America, yes. They're not buying and make new cars, and no, not in Russia. This is not a thing. But they do make very beautiful women. Yes, they do have. I mean, more so maybe even than what we make in this great, prosperous land. That's one truth. But you know, all truths are valuable in some sense, some way, for some reason. It is more useful to know a thing than to not, right? Left. Mm-hmm. Oh, oh, oh! Oh, 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 oh! Yeah, I miss it. I miss it. But like I said, the thing I miss it the most for is because of the money. It was just so quick money. It was guaranteed payday right on the spot that night. You know, there was no question asked. That dude never was like, hey, can you come back tomorrow? Even though, like, that's what the dude that was, you know, that you'd be knocking on his door across the street from that guy's house, you know, you'd asking for something else, you know, like I said, that old Mary Jane or whoever, you'd knocking, asking that guy, he's gonna, hey, just come back, I feel like taking a shit, you know, maybe come back in 4 hours and 32 minutes, and, you know, then I'll break you off or some shit. And you're giving him money, though, so it was way different, you know. You pop out, have fun, getting off-road, hunting, and you come back home, and, you know, just when you're barely awake, you're just exhausted, and some dude, bam, he just slaps a bunch of cash in your hand, and that just was not a bad thing. It just was kind of stretching a few different rules, but I never heard one complaint from a landowner. Of course, I don't know, they might have been one to complain, but now I've even actually talked to a bunch of landowners actually, you know, since, and even a couple during those times where they do not like the raccoon on their property because it's some kind of a nuisance of some sort. In some ways that I don't really know, but I forget. I've probably been heard of told. But apparently they can be, maybe around the houses or something, they can knock over the trash a lot and get into things. You know, they got that semi-opposable thumbs. They got like hands like us, you know, so they can get in them trash and they will do that. But now, unless you go, well, I guess I'm not too far from like Pokagon. That's northern Indiana, but now there, that's kind of a different story. That nature, boy, that is the raccoon's place. I mean, that's about like me standing on this bridge saying, sorry, you shall not pass. You know, I'm like the Balrog here, you know, and nobody's passing while I'm on this bridge. But, well, unless it's another Balrog like myself. But, you know, freaking the Pokagon, the raccoons, they come out at night, boy. They are like fleas on a infested carpet. I'm telling you, they just, as soon as it gets dark and you get in your tent and you're just about to crash out, it is all of a sudden a river of raccoons literally just start just flowing through every campsite and every space, and they're opening every cooler and they're flipping your tent, you know, fucking with you, growling and shit, you know, just making every kind of sound they. And it's like you're standing in your tent too. You're like, oh shit, man, like it's a Sam Squanch. You know, just pick up your tent and run away with your ass. But it's just a bunch of raccoons. But they are all about this is their turf. I mean, that's just, you know, that's how anything is. You know, any people like any, you know, we group up into our little subsections and committees and whatnots, and you know, we like to camaraderie ourselves into a point of, you know, domination of a bit of land or space, and you know, it's just the primal nature we all share. But it's kind of interesting when something is cute and little and oh look, it's a raccoon, until there's a million of them, and then they are not cute, they're not more source of money, they're not let's kill them, we don't dominate them even a little bit. When you're in Coonville, boy, they are en masse and they show ass, boy, I'm telling you. It's scary, but it's also exhilarating too, to be in a tent and just surrounded by so many things that you're scared of them. It's fun. It really is exciting. It's fun. It's cool. I mean, I've never had them rip into the tent, but then again, I've not spent, you know, a fortnight of nights camping in like Pokagon State Park or anywhere in that kind of sort of area, Angola maybe, north. But I've been a handful of times, and each time and every time, I'll tell you one thing you learn quick camping in a place like that is you leave your cooler, you can leave your cooler outside, you know, but you need one of them bigger kind but you wedge it directly underneath the bench seat of the picnic table. That's the only, I mean, there's no like clasp or plastic little clip or anything that you do, and you're not putting any amount of weight on top of your cooler other than a picnic table's weight, and the other principles of its, physical dimensions is the only thing that'll keep them from getting in it. And even still, they will sometimes manage to probably partner up on a particular igloo, and they just bust it out from underneath there, just sheer freaking volume, numbers of them just all shouldering into that fucker. That's what's happened too. Come out, you think you got it, it's been working for a week, and then next day your cooler is unwedged from underneath, and it's a wide open, and only some plastic left inside, and no more of the meats. Right? That's what'll happen to you one night or two. Hi. Oh, okay. I thought that was like, well, there's an eye shine of a different color. It's an actual light source of eye shine in a tree, but it's through the tree, I do believe. Unless that's a hunter man up there, they freaking couldn't have missed it. It couldn't have been in more perfect book. It is the one shot you hope to get ever. And it was just given to me right away. I'm just sitting in my tree stand. The sun hasn't quite broke yet, but it's a little light in the horizon coming over. I can see some trees now. The turkeys have stopped teasing you. They're down mocking you from the ground, just gobble, 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 so loud and boisterous that you're kind of scared of the turkeys. You're like, man, I'm glad I'm 20 feet up in this tree, because them fucking hens is clucking some shit down there, and I don't think they're being too friendly about it. But that's just what they do at that hour. That's their shopping mall thing, It's just, that's cool. But, then so anyway, that goes away. Like I said, a little light breaking over the horizon. You're still fucking freezing. And you can see your breath, and your toes are froze out if you don't have good thick wool socks on. But so I heard this just out of nowhere. I'm just sitting in and I thought maybe somebody was like dead or something. My dad was hunting just probably not a quarter mile away where his stand was at, but it was a good 300-400 yards. And which I guess is probably about a quarter mile. But anyway, I thought at first maybe it was Dad coming through, and but it was too fast, and it just came right up. I'm saying, and I was sighted in. Like I said, I had 3 months to get 3 pins. I had 3 pins set. I could have hit it at 70 yards easy for sure. But it just happened to land on my most used pin, my 35-yard pin, and it was 35 yards perfect. Like, just couldn't have been more perfect. It was a side profile, and it was running up, and it just came to a stop, and it just stood there, put its head up. It wasn't even like sniffing around or anything. It was just, I hope you guys are still with me. If I'm not, I'm throwing this big long, yeah, okay. Hey, thanks again, guys. Like and subscribe and share. Get some more people in here. This is amazing content here that you can't even see, but you can hear it, and you can imagine, right? You guys wind it back if you want to see some of the footage, okay? I'm not really holding my phone in my hand too much anymore because I don't want to drop it. Anyway, this deer comes up. First day hunting, October 1st, my birthday, when I was 11 years old. Or was it? No, yeah, it was 11. It wasn't 13. Yeah, 11 years old. It's my first year. And so, I'm in my tree stand. There's a fire lane, like what we call a fire lane, through around the woods that we was hunting in. So it's like if an emergency, if there was a forest fire or something, then I guess emergency crews could kind of get back to it without relatively much issue as far as driving any kind of equipment through back to the woods, because you're kind of far out from the hunting stations, where you're signed in at. But so yeah, back to the story. The deer profile shot, okay, and it was I'm pretty sure it was a doe. It didn't have any antlers. I can't say for sure if they've already shed antlers at that point of the year. No, of course not. No, they need those antlers for the rut coming up later. So it was a doe, but it's legal. You can get a doe in bow season. And so anyway, and it was healthy. It was probably 160 pounds, unfield dressed and healthy and young. I mean, it was like a perfect specimen, perfect shot. I couldn't believe my luck, right? First day hunting, first day. And so I'm already nocked. I already have an arrow nocked on my string. Of course, I even already had my quick release already locked onto my string because I didn't want even a click. My dad had beat into my head, trained me so much that those deer are just so smart and sensitive that, I mean, just any sound whatsoever, and they'll snap and look right at you. They hear you. They see where you're coming from. They'll smell you. They're out of there, you know. So I'm like being just as extra cautious as a person, as a kid could be. But it's cold. I'm a little shivery, shaky, you know. That's why I already got my arrow knocked. TM Hunter was the arrow rest I used at that time. So if you know anything about arrow rest, it's a great arrow rest. It's super forgiving if you don't dump your arrow off the side or one side or the other. You know, you keep it in the trough of the two tines there, and that sucker is a super arrow rest. If you ever, I've got a couple still in the box. You know, check out my eBay channel. They'll be, look for it coming up soon. That's a good thing to remember. I got to get those things posted. That's right. I've got a bunch of that stuff. Sorry, that's a whole nother thing. I've just been trying to build this eBay store up, and it's slowly trickling in. And, you know, I'm just looking for grabs at the whatever Goodwills and whatnot. Anyway, let's get back on track here, because I've got so many of you holding at the edge of your seat, and I'm not going to make it. I mean, every single word of this is, but oh yeah, I'm just sitting there waiting, you know, with my arrow knocked off. I mean, it kind of like through that, it was like that for a few hours, it was a couple hours how long I was there, but in the morning before you get there. But a couple of times, I think I remember like my arrow kind of falling off the nock, you know, while I'm just sitting there, and it's like, oh shit, you know, and then it's like a clank as you grab your arrow. I was using aluminum, and you know, so, but it wasn't at that time that had happened, right? I was already knocking. I just was hoping it didn't happen, because now I'm like already set to just go to full draw, and I've never been more conscious and aware of how much noise I was making. I'm clearly not not a thing with me. But that time, I mean, I felt like just the strain of my muscles as I started to go into a full draw. I thought that the deer could hear that. I felt like I was making a sawmill go off or some shit. But as luck and fate and destiny would have it, here I am. I'm coming back. My arrow's still sliding, but I'm hearing that. That's the sound of my aluminum arrow dragging back against the TM Hunter. Those aluminum tines that stick out, or steel, I guess they'd probably be. I don't know, aluminum or steel. Say in the comments if you know. A free TM Hunter, not the one in the box, but a very probably unused TM Hunter to the correct person to comment on that. By the way, if you can comment on this stream, this video, whether those tines are aluminum or steel, and pay for shipping, you've got a free TM Hunter if you got a both. There you go. So I hear my arrow drawing back across that, you know, and it sounds loud as fuck, like I said. And but that deer, it's just kind of where it stopped at. It's like as I'm drawing back, it just goes ahead and starts like chewing on a leaf on the ground or something. You know, it's just like just kind of smelling the dirt. You know, it's just chill mode out, and I'm like, holy shit! Because here's the thing, I knew without a doubt in the world that if I get full draw on this deer where it's at from where I'm at, we're in mutton. You know, we're having mutton chops. Wait, that's lamb, isn't it? I mean, it's venison jerky, jerkwad, man, whatever. I was gonna bag this bet, and then so there, when I got to full draw, and I mean, I had to pause maybe for like a half a second just to look at myself, the whole mental picture of here I am. This is what I'm recording, you know, and my brain is recording this moment that I am about to bag a deer on my very first day, and you know, quick release, how that goes, just barely touch that button, you know, and click, and all you hear is there's like a click thump. That's all the bow does, and by the time you're hearing that, your arrow is downrange, as they say. And so I go, you know, and I'm not worried about the sound that made, because by the time the deer snapped up, I was like, oh, okay. Because I was like, man, there's probably very little chance that this arrow is not even going to be stuck in the ground right opposite side where this deer was standing. And it probably would have been. Just for the record, I could tell you the broadheads I was using. They were not muskies. That's what I use now. That's what I have now. I wasn't quite so loaded rich on the arrowhead tip. I don't know what brand of arrowhead tips they were, but they were whatever. I can't remember. Probably some tri-blade. I'm sure. I know one time using those two blades where they got a rubber band around them, and that's supposed to fuck that shit. But anyway, I pop out, I thunk, you know, and of course the deer is boom. It starts to run away, and I didn't even care at all, because I was like, that sucker is not getting far at all. You know, that's 2 lungs and a heart. If it makes it 20 yards, that would be amazing. And I'm just like ecstatic. I'm just sitting up here, just, you know, I'm like already thinking of how soon I'm gonna break the rule of how long I wait before I'm going down to get this blood trail, get this deer. You know, I had a whistle on me because, you know, me and my dad's tree stands were close enough together that we could hear each other's whistle. That way, that was the signal, you know, if you bagged a deer, you know, wait like 5 minutes or so, or really 10 or however long you can, then whistle, and the other will be on the way to help you track down and, you know, begin the laborious task of cleaning and dragging your deer back. Anyway, so I'm all excited. I blew my whistle already before I'm even out of my stand. You know, 5 minutes, I'm blowing the whistle, you know, another 5 minutes and I'm down the stand and I'm walking 25 yards, you know, away from the tree to where I go. And then a new sound I had not heard hitherto yet in my practice or anywhere yet was a loud thwack. Because what had happened was there was a branch, a tree branch, probably 1.5 inches, maybe 2-inch diameter tree branch, exactly halfway between my specific location up in my tree stand, which was, I think, 13 feet, 15 feet, something like that. 4 pieces of the aluminum, you know, little ladder way. But exactly, I mean, I wouldn't even have seen the branch. It was like a hair in your eye. It was, I was seeing deer, nothing but deer. And this 2-inch thick branch was a good, solid, living, you know, supple branch, but albeit in October, so it didn't have any leaves on it or anything. It's just, I didn't even notice it there until I heard that thwack. Okay, it was so loud, and the deer's head comes up, but he's still sitting there for a split second. And I'm not sure what the fuck just happened for a second until my arrow, which is stuck, broadhead stuck right in the middle of this juicy branch, and my arrow's just wobbling like a diving board after a fat boy jumps off it. I finally seen that happening, and so I'm like, oh hell no! Like this can't have happened. My perfect shot just hand delivered on a silver platter. And there's my arrow stuck in a stupid branch that's like 20 freaking yards, 15 yards away from me. It's 15 yards above the ground. So I mean, I never could actually reach it. It's probably still stuck in that branch of that tree, almost for sure. It's probably a guarantee that there's an arrow stuck in a much thicker branch now. It's probably a trunk, part of a trunk. I don't know. Who knows? I ought to go back and try to find that sometime. I probably never will, but anyway, I couldn't believe it, right? But the story gets crazier, okay? So this deer, being 15 yards away at max from the loudest thwack of a aluminum hollow arrow, just into a freaking tree branch, and it snapped up, looked directly towards that noise, which was directly me on the other side of it. Of course, you know, I'm in my real tree camo. No. Was it? Yeah, it was real tree. It was when real tree was brand new. You know, it was after mossy oak was the big thing. Then this new generation that I was wearing was real tree. But anyway, so I'm up there. You know, I have my net and everything, and I'm like a stone up here in this tree. But not because I'm just like that expert. I mean, this is my first hunt ever, right? So I don't know jack shit. I'm just up there, but I am like just kind of stuck in the unbelievable, like I'm in shock because this deer is staring right at me now, but it has not moved yet. And I'm like, I'm sitting here, I got a quiver, you know, with me. I didn't use one of the bolt-on quivers that, you know, back in those days, because my dad recommended, and I still like to go by that method because it's more bulky, it's kind of more cumbersome, like while you're taking shots. But the system I was using was just like a clip onto your belt buckle quiver thing, which was actually worse because, I mean, this was too big around. It allowed my arrows to bump into each other and make noise. And believe me, I was all too aware of it, as I still can't believe it because it's looking right at me too, right? I mean, and I figure that as I move my hand to even just grab the fletching knock area of the next closest available arrow, that just that movement, it's gonna see that as a bye-bye, you know, and that's gonna suck real bad. But this deer, it just really wants to be deer jerkied. and it lets me get this arrow. And I thought pulling it back for my first shot on the TM Hunter's tines was loud. When I'm drawing out a second arrow with, and these are broadheaded, by the way, mind you, down in a quiver, you know, so it's clashing with other, you know, it's trying to pull out a second arrow with it, and then it finally breaks free, and the other one clamps back down into the freaking thing, and it is a real shit show of just, I'm just like, you know, tuba, trumpet, I'm like the parade transmitter, and it's just watching the show, just staring there. It's like, what is this kid doing here? And well, wouldn't you know, it was really enthralled with the show, because this deer sat there staring right at me and let me get, I couldn't even figure, like, the further I get in this thing, this is just the more cruel that the nature is being with me. And you know, I was like, okay, wow, so this is even, in a way, it's kind of worse that I even got the arrow, another arrow out of my quiver after that thwack, you know, and this 2-inch branch, you know, in the middle, and the sky grabbed my arrow. Perfect shot it would have been. But no, it let me get the arrow out, and I'm thinking that's more cruel, because it's just waiting for me to knock. I'm slowly, I mean, I'm moving so slow, right? Because I mean, I just don't want to startle it away before it's like nature's cruel joke, or God's, you know, can play its full, you know, I imagine like Shakespeare probably kind of wrote this whole event, you know, somewhere in the afterlife just for me that day. And he probably got a jolly good kick out of it too. I'd say it was a good story, because it's not done. Listen. So I get this arrow, and I'm taking it to my string, and I'm between my two little places, my little nocks I have set on my bow string. So, and I'm like, okay, surely when I click my knock onto the string, that's all it's gonna take. I mean, it's already seen the movement, it's seeing me, it smells me, I'm sure by now. But click, I got my knock grabbed onto my string. It's just like, again, it's not like any measure of success, because I'm just like, okay, then the next thing, as I simply just lay this aluminum shafted arrow into my TM Hunter, as soon as it makes contact with those metal tines, it'll hear that little ching ching, and that's gonna be the thing. It's like, okay, I've seen enough, I'm out of here, boom, because I mean, it's, you know, a deer, it's just one jump, and it's all of a sudden, it's back in the woods, it's gone. But no, I got it on my tines. And I'm thinking, okay, here's the big one. Here's the big, kind of the bigger waypoint in my mind was thinking, there's just no way in hell that I'm actually going to be able to click my quick release onto my string now. Well, actually not to my string, because I used like, you know, for a quick release, like a little string that kind of comes off the bow and back around my nocks, you know, and that's what I grab onto. But regardless of that, I just knew that there's no way that I'm gonna, because that's the loudest probably click of anything of getting my bow ready to be in full draw, is clicking that quick release onto the string. And but anyway, I like, what else option do I have is going for it and then watch it run away at that point. And you know where this is going, right? Of course, I get clicked onto my string, knocked onto my string, arrow in the arrow rest in the TM Hunter. And I'm shaking like this. I mean, like, the deer is still sitting there. It's still staring right at me. I mean, it hasn't flinched. It clearly sees me. It's watched me do all of this. And I mean, I'm talking like, we're talking a 30-second little roll from this like last 20 minutes of my story was all like 20 seconds literally. But anyway, so here's this deer staring at me now. Here I am, knocked, rested, clicked on with my quick release. The only thing I got to do now is bring my bow up. There's no noise involved in that really, right? And then pull to a full draw, which is very little, almost zero noise whatsoever to draw the bow back. But again, it's like when your deer's staring at you, those little noises are screams, you know? But of course, and I wouldn't let you down, folks, and I'm not gonna, at any point in this story, start to fabricate it. This is all exactly how it went down. This deer is still standing right in the very spot that it stopped when it's tranced up, right in when it first did, when I was ready for that shot, and I took that shot, and it went right through both hearts and lungs, but stopped by the branch. Still sitting there. Okay, next thing, here I am, once again, full draw. Deer still exactly 35 yards. I mean, I cannot even believe that the fates have been so cruel to this deer now, because this deer is now once again, for the second time in its life and the last time, a dead deer. I am about to, for sure, without a doubt, drop this fucking deer on the spot. And I am like, now I see that 2-inch fucking branch clear as day. I mean, it's like a fucking beacon in the, and so it's kind of funny because I actually had to adjust my body. Like I just stretched up. I think I went up or maybe down a little bit. I don't remember which, but I unnaturally kind of moved my body up because at this point it was just a split second there. And then here I did release. And it's that same boom, boom, double on the heart. This time it gives off without a hitch. I missed the branch in between me and this deer. This thud as it does, and that's the only thing, that thud, that thunk, which is just the bows bending around. But as soon as I heard that deer, I think of it as it must have felt that arrow go through it, because it's not like a deer. I think usually when you put a good shot through a deer, it doesn't know it's even dead. It just runs off like, hey, what the fuck was that? Oh, boy, I'm tired. And then it's down and it's food. Just like that. Like that's when if you're a good hunt and you did a good shot, that's what the deer, that's all that goes through its mind. So it's dead before it even hits the ground. But this guy was alerted. He was alerted to me. He watched me reload and everything. He let me get my shot off into him. He let me put my shot right through his heart. And, but he did have like I think maybe a surprise reaction on his part. He reared up. As I released the shot, he very quickly reared up on his back legs, as like a horse would, when you see the horses in like the old Civil War movie. It's like ninnying or whatever they say. It reared up and it it didn't bring its front hooves back down. That was it. It then darted from that position. It leaped from his back legs and sprung off into the woods, however, some unknown distance. Thinking it was running away from something that just maybe was a little scary sounding. Like I said, again, it didn't know that it was dinnered. That's when I got all excited, started doing my whistle. Like I waited 5 minutes, I think, when Dad said, hey, wait 40 minutes, but at least don't be blowing your whistle. Don't be coming out of the stand even for at least 20 minutes. And that's if you dropped it, because you don't want to scare it off further and have to run a mile to go find it. But I couldn't wait because like I said, I knew I had it. I knew the shot. I knew there's no way I'm missing. There's no way I would miss it. I'm shooting groups at that point. At 35 yards, I put a group into the bottom of a styrofoam cup every time. 5 arrows, easy every time. So there's no doubt. Anyway, I come down and well, the first two things I'm looking for, obviously a blood, like a nice big blood spill of where the arrow entered and exited this deer. And also I kind of want to easily retrieve my arrow without having to even look for it, really. I expected it would just be sticking at about the angle that I was from the tree to where it was at. And I wouldn't have to even dig, but I thought, it might have, it probably didn't penetrate the ground too far, I thought. I wouldn't have to look too hard for that arrow. It'd be right in the center of blood globbed around it. But I get down there and I just kind of started noticing pretty quickly that I'm not seeing either one of these things when they both should have been glaringly obvious immediately. And, this is kind of starts to become a growing surprise and shock, really, and disbelief. Because there's no way I missed. There's no way I missed. And I didn't, for the little spoiler on that. Let's just get that out of the way. I didn't miss, okay? And you'll see why I say that. But true to, again, the athleticism, the speed of their twitch, the fast twitch speed, the precision, the strength, everything together with just like super athletic body structure of a white-tailed deer in her prime. She heard my bow go thunk. My arrow traveled at who knows how fast, pretty damn fast. And in that little gap between me and her, she had reared up just enough where, yes, it did not go through her lungs or her heart or her body for that matter. But, and here's the silver lining for me, this is why this story is worth even telling, okay? Because again, it's a story about the athleticism of the deer, which you see where I'm going. But let me just tell you why I say I did not miss. So, my dad shows up, and that's when I'm like, okay, what the fuck? Because by the time it would have took him to get to me, from hearing the whistle going off, I should already have that arrow. I should already have the blood shell. Probably have already found the deer and come back and already been waiting on him to get to my tree stand. And he shows up and I'm still looking for my arrow. There's no blood drop. Dad's pretty disappointed. You know, he just left his perfectly great spot, you know, and wrecked the day. The day's up. But I mean, he doesn't understand the quandary I'm in. Like, this is, you know, after the time it took Dad to walk there, a good 5, maybe 10 minutes of searching, I was able to find the clue that told me what happened. And instead of being disappointed, I was really kind of left that morning just more in awe of just how quickly a deer's reaction could be. Because what I did find, although I never did find the arrow, I think it just kind of, because it didn't hit a deer, it kind of just went under the leaves, probably buried its whole self, like, you know, horizontally. It doesn't really matter. But what I did find, exactly where the deer stood, because I knew that exact spot. I went straight to that spot, and I kind of went to that spot many times, just like wondering, what the fuck? But what I eventually found, and I can't believe I didn't notice it until my dad was there, until I was like done, the search was over. I mean, maybe, you know, because anything you're looking for is always the last spot you look. Maybe that's why this part. But what there was, exactly where that deer stood, was, I don't know what us Hoosier hillbillies call cockleburrs plant. You know, it's an old dried out, you know, in fall, like a plant that grows about, you know, waist high. It's got some of those big burrs on it, you know, that just grab onto your fur or your dog's fur or whatever else. But it's got this cockleburr plant, which just above waist height, this particular one, and it was the only one standing there by itself. I mean, right on the spot where this deer, she stood. And like the last second I look, I looking at that plant, and I say, I'm like, that's some fur. There's fur stuck to the top of that little pack of burrs on this cockleburr plant. So I go in on it, and I say, Dad, because I mean, right at this point, I'm just looking for like redemption, because I've brought my father out of his spot. You know, he's come to see a happy child, and just to feel so great about teaching him well, and his first day out. You know, how successful do you get to be for being the dad of that kid too, right? And instead, he shows up to some guy takes an arrow towards a deer and expects to go, I got it. You know, not the case. And I'm glad I found this shred of evidence, right? What it was, that little bit of fur that I noticed on top of that, stuck to that cockleburr plant. As I actually got up close to it and grabbed at it, it was fur. It was underbelly fur. It was white. It was underbelly fur from a white-tailed deer, from that white-tailed deer, right? I was standing there, and to really add the poetic, like, lining to this cloud, no pun intended, there was exactly just the thinnest shaving layer of skin attached to this bit of underbelly fur. And I'm talking such a thin shaving of skin that it wouldn't even have drawn blood. It just like a little shave and a haircut, 2 bits, you know. I just took off a 2-pence, you know, for free under the underbelly of this super athlete that says, go ahead, I'll wait till you click that release, buddy. And then I'm gonna freaking Air Jordan my ass directly over it, and I'll thank you not to give me razor burn, which I probably didn't even give. But there was just a connective layer. I mean, like, I'm talking 1 layer of skin, you know, like it wouldn't even hurt to take it off yourself that little bit. And a little strip of it, just a little strip with a little bit of white, almost blondish mix there of underbelly fur on a cockleburr plant, right about balls height level. And I'm glad I found that, because, like I said, it gave me an appreciation that I didn't have. I understood what my dad had been teaching me for years about how incredibly sensitive their senses, and how keen and how sharp, and, you know, and all that was true, and then some. And so I learned a lesson that day, the very first day I was hunting, and I'll take that with me to every hunt, every day. You want to ask me, but don't, because you see how long it takes me to tell that story, and you can just watch it on YouTube now. Okay, thanks you guys. Cheers. All true. Every word, by the way. Promise. Anybody that knows anything could tell. There's no fabrication whatsoever in that story.